Atheists are sometimes more religious than Christians. Something doesn't seem right here, so let's dive in. Survey shows how poorly we understand the beliefs of people who identify as atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particular. Okay, I don't see a problem with this sentence in general. However, there may be a small issue with the term nothing in particular, which doesn't really fit with the other two. Although we can certainly see a possible future issue with this combination of terms, in that two terms indicate a lack of belief and one indicates a possible belief, we should hold off judgment and continue reading to find out. But let's keep this in the back of our minds. The article continues with, Americans are deeply religious people, and atheists are no exception. Wait, what? We then get Western Europeans are deeply secular people, and Christians are no exception. Okay, this could be fine, depending on how the author is using the term secular. When I first read these two sentences, my first reaction was some serious confusion. But I realized that we may be encountering an attempt at deception by technicality, i.e. using words in a way they are not normally used without letting the reader know so as to deceive without technically lying. So, before we continue, we need to take a look at a few vocabulary words that we need to keep in the back of our minds as we read further into the article. These words are religious, atheist, and secular. So, we head to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, since the article was published in the United States, for clarification. First up, we have religious, relating to or manifesting faithful devotion to an acknowledged ultimate reality or deity, of, relating to, or devoted to religious beliefs or observances, scrupulously and conscientiously faithful, fervent, zealous. Ultimate reality is defined as something that is the supreme, final, and fundamental power in all reality. Atheist is defined as a person who does not believe in the existence of a god or any gods, one who subscribes to or advocates atheism, where atheism is the lack of belief in a god or any gods. And finally, secular is defined as of or relating to the worldly or temporal, not overtly or specifically religious, not ecclesiastical or clerical, not bound by monastic vows or rules. In other words, secularism isn't atheism. It's not about what one believes, but instead deals with how one acts. Thankfully, we're done with definitions and can return to the article. Yes, Americans are, on average, deeply religious, but after looking at the definitions, we can in no way claim that atheists are religious unless the claim is nothing more than atheists can be faithful, e.g., faithful to a friend, but based on context, that is certainly not what is being conveyed here. Therefore, we can say that at best, claiming atheists are deeply religious is an attempt at deception by technicality, but it's more likely just a blatant falsehood. So I could end the video here, but I think it's very important to find out what caused the author to make this claim. So let's keep going. The next claim about Christians being secular is certainly more plausible, as a person can be religious without being overtly religious, ecclesiastical, or clerical. In other words, they hold beliefs in a god or gods, but don't make it a strong part of their lives, nor do they attend regular religious ceremonies, events, etc. Religion simply rests in the background of their lives. Secular people also tend to promote a secular, i.e. non-theistic, government. The author now refers to a Pew Research study as the foundation of their claims. The article says, by surveying almost 25,000 people in 15 countries in the Western European region, and comparing the results with data previously gathered in the United States, the Pew Research Center discovered three things. First, researchers confirmed the widely known fact that, overall, Americans are much more religious than Western Europeans. I fully accept that. Second, the researchers found that American nones, those who identify as atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particular, are more religious than European nones. This sentence is very broad and carries with it almost no actionable information, as it doesn't tell us how many nuns are atheist, how many are agnostic, and how many are nothing in particular. Therefore, I can accept it and move on. So, doing just that, we have the third finding reported in the study is by far the most striking. As it turns out, American nuns are as religious as, or even more religious than, Christians in several European countries, including France, Germany, and the UK. Naha Segal, the Pew Research author, states that 23% of European Christians say they believe in God with absolute certainty, and 27% of American nuns say this. This is definitely the source of confusion and deception. With this new information in hand, I'm going to change my prediction of deception by technicality to deception by grouping, which is also a logical fallacy called fallacy of composition. This type of deception is used a lot in modern politics by both the left and the right. The basic idea is this. Let's say we have a group of 100 women that we divide into two groups. Those who are mathematicians, accounting for, say, 80 of the women, and those who are professional athletes, accounting for the other 20. Let's assume none of the women are both. Let's now say we test all the mathematicians in the group and find, not surprisingly, that they have a high aptitude for math. But because there are so many more mathematicians in the group, the average math aptitude for the group as a whole would probably be somewhat high. The fallacy is when we see these results and automatically assume that because the overall math aptitude for the entire 100 is relatively high, the high aptitude must also apply to each subgroup, including the group of athletes who are not mathematicians. Maybe all the athletes do have a high aptitude for math, we don't know, and we can make no claims either way. We see this type of deception in politics, social commentary, etc., and it appears to be the primary mode of deception in this article. The article continues on to talk about a variety of topics related to religion in the US, such as atheist churches, an event referred to as Beyonce Mass, the Catholic-themed Met Gala in 2018, and spirituality. Although I could spend some time discussing why the author lacks a serious understanding of what these ideas represent, it wouldn't fit the theme of deception. So I'll skip the rest of the article. It's linked below, so feel free to give it a read. However, I don't find it all that interesting. So, instead, let's do a quick recap of the blatant deception in the primary claim made by the author. The claim is that atheists are sometimes more religious than Christians. If you read the original research results, you will see this claim is never made. An interesting fact is that some Western Europeans think of themselves as Christians, even if they don't believe in God. The term Christian to them refers to a more cultural or ethnic idea than a religious one. This is a take on how there are Jewish people who are also atheists. They don't see being Jewish necessarily as a religious label, but as a cultural or ethnic label. This is part of why Western European Christians are, on average, less religious than American Christians. The problem in the article is that the classification none includes three subgroups of people: atheists, agnostics, and nothing in particulars, all with differing beliefs. But the article's claim ignores this and applies the average religiosity of nuns to even the atheists, which is blatantly absurd. Yes, American nuns may, on average, be more religious than some Western European Christians, but that doesn't mean all nun subgroups are. As with so many articles like this one, we see that the author either has no interest in representing research honestly, or they are looking for a reason to misinform the public on the subject. Giving this author the benefit of the doubt with regard to their intentions means that they have some combination of apathy towards honest representation of the research and the desire to create misleading clickbait titles to make some extra money. Regardless, the result does have consequences. One, it continues to normalize misleading, deceptive journalism, and so long as there is no rejection of it, it will continue to be used to make more money. And two, This article can be found linked to and reposted all over Christian and other religious-based websites as evidence that atheists are actually religious. Whether or not you're religious, honesty about atheists should still be important, and spreading misinformation about anybody or any group of people should be seen as wrong. We don't all read articles from start to finish, nor do we always look too closely at claims made in articles, especially if we don't outright disagree with the claims themselves. So, to avoid being deceived by this type of article, we must always fully understand how these claims come to be. It takes a little extra work and thought, but it's absolutely required. Thank you very much for the view, and if you want to support this channel in pushing for more honest journalism, please like and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll try and respond. Thank you again, and I will see you next time.